Hello, my name is Francisco Chang. I'm a supports manager at the ARC of North Carolina, and today I will be providing you with an overview of the Auto Calculator. The Auto Calculator is a tool used by EORs. EORs stand for Employer of Record, and this tool is used to manage the budget that is provided to you through your ISP process. The budget can be found in the last page of the ISP if your MCO is Alliance Health or Sandhill Center. This auto calculator has been approved by Acumen. Acumen is currently working to develop their own auto calculator, but for now, we will utilize this approved tool to establish pay rates for staff. If your financial support agent is ET Independence, please contact their financial customer service line at 1-877-659-450 for assistance with your budget tool. We're going to break up this auto calculator training into 3 sections so that we can get a better idea of what the auto calculator does and how it does it. So basically, the auto calculator has 3 sections. It has your assumptions section, which also includes row H, which this section is basically the section that displays the basic information that you're going to be basing your calculations on. This doesn't impact any cell. This is just information for you so you can keep it organized. The only part that has a calculation in here is the annual self-directed base budget. And this is the budget ceiling, what we're allowed to spend through Medicaid. And this is displayed in all of the subsequent pages so that you can easily reference it while you work on entering information for each service. The service tabs at the bottom are gonna relate to the service you're calculating. So for example, service 1 could be community living and supports in this example, and then service 2 can be your respite service. The second section is section A and section B. And the way we like to describe these 2 sections is basically making the analogy that you are working with a piggy bank. So section A is going to be what you bring into your piggy bank, and then section B is what you're going to be paying out of your piggy bank. Okay, now we're going to review the auto calculator guidelines. This auto calculator will focus on revenue and what you can pay out to your staff. To complete the auto calculator, you will need the following information: total hours of each service, a copy of the budget from the ISP, and the Acumen rate sheet for the MCO that you're working with. Now, I also highly suggest having handy an actual calculator because the Medicaid billing units are in 15-minute increments, and you want to have that calculator so that you can turn those quarter units, the 15-minute units, into billing hours, the service hours that you're going to be billing for in section A. Okay, so now that we have that established, we're going to go over to our row H right here, which again, this doesn't impact any calculation. This is part of your assumptions, you know, the services that you want to keep organized that you're going to be self-directing. So we're also going to get our ISP handy here. And we're going to begin entering the information from the ISP. So in our ISP, we have 21 hours of CLS per week, which is 1,092 hours per year. We're going to go ahead and enter all of the services that we're going to be self-directing in this budget. In this example, we have 2, community living and supports and respite. So for the second service, we're going to list here respite 288 hours per year. All right, so now that we have that information entered, this correlates with the service tabs that you have in here. So this kind of serves as an index or a menu. It's located in the first page, so you know what the other pages contain just by looking at the first page. So it's just handy to have that information in there. Now we're going to scoot over to the other part of our assumptions in the auto calculator, and we're gonna begin entering first the annual self-directed base budget, which I have already entered here. Out of this entire section, this cell is really the only one that has an impact in any other cells, because once you enter the base budget, for this example is $31,784.64, that is gonna auto-populate in the other pages so that you can easily reference or correlate with the service that you're looking at for that page. So in the respite tab, you can compare the two amounts. We're beginning with CLS, so in this first page, that's where you enter it, and then it's gonna auto-populate in the service number 2, service number 3, and so on and so far in the different pages here at the bottom. Okay, so now that we have entered our annual self-directed base budget, we're gonna enter the dates that the budget is effective. This example ISP begins in July 1st, 2022, and it runs for 12 months to June 30th, 2023. Now, the date the individual family direction begins is gonna be July 1st, 2022. We're making the first day of the ISP correlate with the first data that the individual self-directed budget will begin to be used. Be mindful this can be a different date. You say, for example, you're still training to be an EOR during the first few months of your ISP. You know, this could be August or September. But for our example, for the sake of simplicity, we're gonna make it match. We're gonna start this budget on the first date of the ISP. Now, moving right down the list, we want to enter the same information from the ISP. So I'm just gonna go over to my ISP here, and then I'm gonna start entering these hours into my assumption section. So in here again, I'm gonna put 1,092 hours per year. Which this is the part where you want to use your handy calculator. So the service unit for community living and support, according to our max pay rate sheet, and be mindful, max pay rate sheets can change during the life of the ISP. So always make sure that when you are filling one of these auto calculators out, or you're calculating your budget, that you work with your community navigator, your care coordinator, or your fiscal agent to make sure that you have the most up-to-date max pay rate sheet. For this particular example, the unit for community living and supports, the 15-minute unit is $6.14. So we're gonna plug that into our handy calculator, and that is going to give us $24.56 for the hourly rate. And then I'm gonna pay attention to detail. I'm gonna go ahead and add the dollar sign in there, so we're abundantly clear that this is the hourly rate that we're billing Medicaid. In parentheses, I'm gonna go ahead and enter my unit rate, because it's good to have it as a reference. You know, if you're trying to explain to somebody else, you know, your community navigator or your care coordinator, how do you come up with your hourly rate? Oh, this is the unit I calculated. So $6.14 per unit. And then in the next cell, I'm gonna go ahead and enter the service code for that unit, so you can easily look it up for future reference. So this community living and supports is T2013 TF. All right, so the following items, training, supply costs, supervisory hours, you want to have a fund balance, because that's how you're going to pay for these items. Supervisory hours, mileage, anything that doesn't pertain to the actual billing of the service. You know, if you're doing community living and supports, that staff might drive the individual to different locations, or there might be other costs associated with providing that service. You want to be able to pay those out of the fund balance. So to be able to figure out what kind of fund balance we're going to be accruing when we bill Medicaid for these hours, we are going to start punching that information into section A. Again, if you're making the analogy of a piggy bank, section A is what you are bringing into your piggy bank, and section B is what you're paying out of your piggy bank. Go ahead and enter those hours into the first service. So we're going to enter 1,092 hours per year. And in here, we're going to be billing Medicaid $24.56. Once you enter that information, that's going to give you your max employee rate here in section B. You can bring into your piggy bank up to $21.61, which brings us to section B. Okay, so we want to be able to have a fund balance to pay for those extra things that go with providing the service. In the green cell, in this section, in this cell, you want to enter what you're going to be paying that staff. So for this particular staff, we have decided that we want to pay $15 per hour to provide community livings and support. So you can see it auto-populated how much we're going to be paying for overtime. So we pay $15 per hour. That's going to have a $22.50 cost for overtime. But now we want to figure out how much am I going to have in my fund balance to be able to pay for those extra things. So now that we've made this decision, we want to chip away at the maximum employee rate and take money from here and enter it into our fund balance until these two cells match. So the way we're going to manipulate these two cells and really the maximum employee rate cell is by entering money into our miscellaneous cost cell to bring money into this cell from what we can max, our max pay rate. So as an example, we're gonna enter here, for example, $5,000. Once we enter $5,000, we can see that the maximum employee rate will begin to go down. So you wanna continue to enter money into your miscellaneous cost until you make those two cells match. So I enter $5,000, they're gonna give me $17.03. I enter $6,000, and that's gonna continue to bring money into my miscellaneous cost cell. Are these two matching? Not yet. So let's keep adding more money into our miscellaneous costs. So we're getting closer and closer. So 7,000. We can add a little bit more money. So let's add a little bit more money to our fund balance here. Let's add $200. $200 is going to give me $15 with 2 cents. We're getting close. These cells are almost matching. So I'm going to add a few more dollars in here. Let's add $20, and then bam, there we have it. For this service, we're going to be billing 1,092 hours for the plan year at $24.56. That will allow us to pay $15 per hour and accrue a fund balance for the year of $7,220, which will help me prepare for the costs that I gotta pay out, mileage, supervision, etc. Because now I have a fund balance paying at $15 per hour. Next, we are going to be working on our second service, service number 2, which is respite. So I am gonna go back to my ISP, and I have the respite hours entered also in the first page. So before we move on to service number 2, also note, now that we have established our fund balance or an hourly rate, up here at the top, you're going to see service number 1, how much we are billing Medicaid, how much is this costing us to provide that service and having that fund balance. So you can easily compare it to your annual self-directed base budget here. This auto-populates from the calculations that we did down below. So we know that we still have headroom in the budget to account for the other service and whatever fund balance that might accrue. So we're gonna go ahead and work on service number 2. Service number 2 is gonna be the respite again. And we're just gonna go and follow the same exact steps we followed in the first service, in the first page. So we're gonna go right ahead in here, and then we're gonna put in here respite, 288 hours per year. Then we're gonna go here in our assumptions. We're gonna take our ISP. Again, the dates the budget is effective are gonna be July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. This service is also gonna start in July 1st, 2022. We can, just like we did in the first page, we can enter our service hours in here, 288 hours per year. And we know for this service, we're already crunched the numbers for the quarterly unit, and we know we're gonna be billing Medicaid $17 per hour. We're gonna go right ahead and enter this information into our section 8. So we're gonna be billing 288 hours for the plan year for the 12 months, and we're gonna be billing this on, and excuse me, I do need to enter the rest of the information here just so that we're abundantly clear before we make any mistakes. So the service hour is, the service unit is $4.31 for the unit for the 15 minutes. So if I backtrack a little bit, I am going to multiply $4.31 times 4, which is going to give me $17.24. How did I come up with that number? Again, I multiplied $4.31 per unit. And I want to add my $sign here so I can be consistent. There we go. And then in the service code in here, the service code for respite care is going to be S5150, which is respite care. Again, these cells just provide information. So the more information you can provide in here, the more organized you are. You can prevent the mistakes. I kind of caught myself there because I thought I had already calculated the unit, but then upon a closer look, I see, oh, wait a minute, the quarter unit is 431. You know, that hourly rate seems a little off. So there you go. That's an example of how you can catch yourself and make sure that, you know, if you go through the exercise of entering the units here, the cost per unit, then you have another layer of protection against mistakes, because you can easily see, how did you come up with that $17? That doesn't seem right. Oh, what, the unit is 431 multiplied by 4 is 1724. There it is. Okay, now we have accurate information to work with. So now that we have entered the 288 hours per year here, now we can go ahead and bill Medicaid $17.24 per hour, and that's going to give us our service ceiling. So now that we're working with our piggy bank here, where this is what we're bringing in, now we can start planning on what we're going to be paying out of here. So again, for the respite in this particular scenario, we have chosen to pay the staff $15 per hour. Okay, so now we want to be able to figure out what's going to be our fund balance for the year if we're paying $15 per hour billing at this rate. So we can start playing with our miscellaneous costs here so that we can begin to chip away at this max pay rate. So let's add, say, for example, $30 in there. Okay, so we're going in the right direction. Let's add $40, getting closer. let's see, $50. There we go. So now we did the same thing that we did in the first page. We've accrued a fund balance of $50 for this particular service, service 2, page 2, paying at $15 per hour, billing Medicaid 288 hours at $17.24. So we can also see that for this entire service page, we're going to be billing Medicaid $4,965 with 12 cents, which brings us back to the beginning. So initially, we established through the ISP process that we're going to be allowed to spend for the plan year $31,784 with 64 cents. Now that we have established our hourly rates and enter money into our piggy bank to pay for those fund balances, the things that are going to go with our services, such as mileage, supervision, etc., we have maximized the use of our budget by making these two cells match. So if we go to page 1, we can see there too, you know, both services add up through this cell, and there you have it. We are making maximum use of our $31,784 with 64 cents, and not leaving any dollars on the table. Again, my name is Francisco Chang. I'm a supports manager at the ARC of North Carolina. This has been a mini tutorial on the auto calculator. If you have any questions about your budget, about how to use those funds, and understanding units, please work with your community navigator, your care coordinator, and your fiscal agent. Thank you so much.